Going to make a lovely little recipe now that is like a restaurant dish, but you can make it at home, ready in about half an hour. We're going to use our induction hob today. So first thing we're going to do is make a little sort of Mediterranean style stew of vegetables. Starting off with some courgettes. Just going to trim them down into a fine dice. Now we're using sea bass today, which is really one of the nicest little fillets of fish that you'll ever come across. Very simple to cook. People shouldn't be scared of cooking fish. It's an incredibly simple thing to do. But I think they perhaps associate it with something that's maybe always cooked in restaurants. We're going to sort of dispel that today. We're going to char grill it very simply to go along with these lovely vegetables. Next vegetable I'm prepping, a red pepper. So just trim around the outside. Whole dinner cooked in 2 pots, very little washing up. You're going to see with this little pepper stew, it's like any sort of stew, it's just sort of slowly cooked, getting all the flavours out of the vegetables. So just roughly diced. And the most important thing with these peppers is you see that little white membrane? Just going to trim them out. Slightly bitter, we're only looking for that lovely natural sweetness of the peppers. Now with any stew, we want to add in some aromatic flavors. So what we're going to do is we're going to pop our heat on. Because we're using induction today, heats up very, very quick. Lovely controlled temperature. So low to medium temperature, generous amount of olive oil in there. And we're going to prep up a red onion. Want to keep this little vegetable stew nice and chunky, sort of rustic, but with lovely little textures and flavors in there. So peel the red onion. Straight down the middle, chop that little root out, and we're just going to slice them up nice and thin. In goes your onion. Also at this stage, going to add in some fresh thyme leaves. Thyme's a robust herb, it stands up to that sort of heat really well. And unlike soft herbs that you'd add at the end, you pop it in at the start, really aromatic. So in that goes. And last but not least, another very common ingredient in stews, a little bit of fresh garlic. Now with garlic, a little tip for you. You can see nice and red. That means the garlic is perfectly ripe. If you get it and it's all completely white, it means it's not quite ripe. And like anything, always good to eat it when it's perfectly in season. So these are absolutely perfect. A little bit of extra flavor in there. Just peel the skin off. And we're just going to roughly chop it up. So garlic, onions, thyme leaves, sweating away in there, 2 to 3 minutes until they start to soften up, not too much colour, lovely, beautiful flavours in there. Now you can see those garlic, onions and thyme starting to sweat away. Next ingredient, red peppers. Now this is where we're going to turn the heat right down. We're going to sweat them real nice and slow. They're going to break down and start to create that lovely sort of stew texture. Next in goes our cherry tomatoes. When you're buying cherry tomatoes, get them on the vine. Smell them, much better. Loads of flavour in there, really nice and ripe. In they go. What's going to happen is they're nice and ripe. They're going to start bursting in there with the heat, releasing some of their lovely natural juices, and that's going to help create that stew consistency. So we'll stew those down for about 10 to 15 minutes until it becomes stew consistency, and then we'll add in the rest of our vegetables, and then we can move on to very simply char grilling our fish. Now, a couple of quick things that I'm going to do that my peppers have stewed down in with my courgettes. Want to keep a little bite in there. Lovely soft stewed courgettes. We're going to add in our asparagus and then season it up. A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. Now, as those vegetables start to soften up, we're going to do one more thing. We're going to cook our fish. This is what I was talking about earlier. So simple to do. So I've got my fish, season, a little bit of salt, both sides. Not going to season it with black pepper. A lot of people season fish with black pepper. What happens is the little lumps of pepper hit the high temperature and they actually burn. So if you want to season it with anything, a little bit of white pepper just afterwards. So just rub that fish in the oil and the salt, and now onto our char grill pan. Listen for that sizzle. That's exactly the noise that I'm looking for. Now the next big mistake that people make is they start playing around with the fish. They start trying to lift it and turn it and do lots of different things with it. I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to leave it like that for about 2 minutes until it crisps up on that side. We'll flip it over and then we can assemble the whole dish. Now you can see those vegetables, really nice, sweated down. You can see I've just flipped my fish, absolutely perfectly cooked. We've done so little with it. All we have to do now is plate it all up. So just a generous spoonful of our lovely little veg stew. So simple to prepare, nothing complicated in there, but the flavors are absolutely gorgeous. Generous amount of that. And we're keeping it real clean with the flavors today. There's no big heavy sauces, nothing that's going to sort of bog you down with big creamy sauces. Just simple and light little stew. We're going to pop one of our lovely fresh sea bass fillets up on top there. And just to finish it off, two of the lightest flavors ever. Just a little squeeze of lime juice, tiny little drizzle of very good quality olive oil, little basil leaf up on top. We've used the induction absolutely perfectly. We've made a gorgeous little stew of vegetables served with some simple char grilled sea bass.